Welcome back to another episode of All Mic'd Up IronBirds fans. Michael Marcantonini here with IronBirds and Orioles staff assistant Casey Buckley. Casey, you're all mic'd up. You ready for this, man?
Ready to rock and roll. Let's do it.
Give me a rundown of what that staff assistant position really is.
It's a role which I honestly really like because I get to kind of help in a lot of different areas. Like you mentioned, I'm able to be on field helping with. I work with the catchers with Ryan Goal. I work with Zach Cole with the hitting side. Um, I'll catch up during BP, throw BP, hit fungo, all the kind of regular stuff that a normal coach would do. I'm just kind of bouncing around, I guess, from position group to position group, which I love. It's been cool to get to know the guys and work with different position groups. Also learning different positions and how to teach and how to do that. Other stuff is helping with the little technology, with the analytics. Yeah, I would just say I'm just kind of an extra hand wherever needed, and the rest of the staff's been great and involving me with everything. So it's been really fun so far.
Yeah, super utility player on the coaching staff. I guess that's what we can call you. So
Right.
I know a while back during batting practice, I asked you if you had ever thrown this much batting practice in your life. So how's the arm feeling right now, man?
I was feeling good. During spring training, that was definitely the ramp up. So that's kind of when reality hit, when we were throwing a lot. But no, it's been good. We do a good job of mixing guys in there, and I would like to say I've built up a little bit of a tolerance with throwing. So not yet in midseason shape, but we're heading there.
And I know before the 2024 season started, you spent some time down in the Dominican Republic at the beginning of your time in the Orioles organization. And you got to spend some time at the Orioles Academy down there. So, what did you do down there, and what did you learn from that experience?
I learned so many things. I guess the number one would probably be Spanish. I had a little Spanish going into it, but it's a lot different down there with the pace and so just learning the language, learning the culture, where these kids grow up, how they're brought up. It's baseball, baseball, baseball their entire lives. They live and die by baseball. I mean, it's incredible to see. So yeah, and then regarding the my role, I was pretty much in the same role. Staff assistant, was catching bullpens, on the hitting side, catching side, kind of, very similar role, just down there. So it was an experience of a lifetime for sure.
So, with the little bit of a Spanish background that you had, how did you get the confidence to speak it regularly down there and just use it on a day-to-day basis?
Yeah, I would say just the encouragement of others, of not being too afraid to go get out there and really speak to these guys. Even the coaches, I think that's kind of where it started. Starting speaking with the coaches and then filtering in with the players and just showing them, I want to learn the language and I want to get to know them. And, they were a big help too. So, yeah, it definitely progressed over the year or over the summer. And the first couple of weeks were definitely a big shock, but I wouldn't trade it for anything.
Yeah, I mean that's such a cool experience. I mean, I've been able to practice my Spanish throughout the season with our guys in Aberdeen, and it takes a lot just to get the confidence to try it. Since you were born, you've been around a baseball field. Your dad has been coaching in college baseball pretty much your entire life. Longtime head coach at Long Beach State, has spent time at a pitching coach at multiple stops. What was it like growing up around the Long Beach State baseball team? Because you've told me some really cool stories already.
Growing up around Long Beach was a great place to grow up. Uh, just on the baseball side, a historical program with a track record that's up there with the best big leaguers everywhere. So growing up with those kinds of players and that culture, and it was a nitty gritty back then. They had a practice field that was not the nicest, but they made the most of it. They were a mid-major. They don't get the funding that all the Power Five schools, have the ability to. So just kind of the dirt bag mentality is something I've really taken with me because it holds true. It's you're a dirt bag. It's not a knock. It's not a insult. It's, hey, we're gonna make the most of what we got. We're where it didn't get dirty, and it really translated into the game and into the culture down there. So that was something I learned for sure.
Yeah, that dirtbag mindset. That has to be the best nickname in college baseball. I mean,
Yeah, it's up there. It's up there. It's a good one.
since you were basically born into that baseball life, I mean, what has it been like for your entire family just being around baseball?
A lot of it goes back to my dad, but my sisters as well. We all kind of grew up around it. We would get dropped off at the field, or we'd get picked up at school. We'd go to the field. They would have practice, so we were just always messing around at the field. So I think just my sisters and I, we got really close during those times just because we spent a lot of time together, and it just happened to be on a baseball field and our dad was coaching. So, it was always baseball. But we always did a good job of, drawing that line of, hey, this is, he did a good job of drawing that line. This is baseball. But when we get home, he's a dad. So it was, I think it made us all closer.
You ended up going on to play college baseball. You played at Michigan. You got to make your first career college start back in 2019 against Long Beach State at Long Beach State with your dad, coaching in the other dugout. So how cool was that?
Oh man, that's definitely a memory that's up there for memories. I'm super fortunate that I found out my freshman year, or actually my senior year of high school, that we were going to Long Beach State to play them in a midweek game. And in my head I was like, man, I really hope I can play that game. It'd be really fun. Just I'm so used to being on the other side, like you said. So it was definitely weird being on the other side of the field and the other dugout. And then looking over and having my dad right there calling pitches against me when I was hitting. He threw three straight changeups, and he called three straight changeups, and I swung through all three of them. So
Um,
he knew the plan going in. He didn't take it light, but no, it was an experience. That was a memory that him and I will share, and the rest of my family for the rest of our lives.
Yeah. So aside from that strikeout there, what was the rest of that day like having your family there? I mean, talking with your teammates in your dugout, seeing familiar faces in the other dugout. What was that like?
Oh, it was great having my family right there, and all my friends in the stands. It was nostalgic at the same time, but it was a different experience. The rest of that game was good. We ended up losing that game, so he's got the one up on me on that, so he can hold that against me. But yeah, I even not the win or loss, just the experience and the memories that we could take from it. That was pretty much all it was about.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. I mean, that's just so cool that you got to do that. You played at Michigan with Isaiah Page, who is the old IronBirds development coach from the 2022 season. And you also played with Cameron Weston, who's now up in Double A Bowie, but spent beginning of this year, part of last year with the Aberdeen IronBirds. How cool is it to be able to play with those guys in college and then, now have that pro connection with them?
The Michigan connection holds true. That's a big part of what that brand is, what that university is the connections, it's the networking, and it's the relationships that you build. And you know, when I heard Isaiah was coming to the Orioles, and knowing the Orioles were, one of the up and coming organizations just with development, I after I got done playing, I shot him a text. I'm like, hey, like let's see if anything could happen. I would love to be a part of it. And so that kind of grew with it. And Weston, it's just funny. It's not weird being on the other side, being a coach, because I don't think it really affected anything. But he obviously did a tremendous job, and he's been like that since he was a freshman coming from Pennsylvania into Michigan. So yeah, it was super cool, just be able to, like I said, with the memories, being able to share that with him. And he's killing it in Bowie. I'm excited to see where he ends. Sky's the limit for him. So it was really cool.
Yeah, so not only did you get to make your first college start against the team you grew up around, your dad's team at Long Beach State, you also had a chance to go to the College World Series with Michigan your first year there. So, I mean, how cool was that? And what was that experience like getting to, go to Omaha and, experience that whole ride?
Yeah. That those two events, having my first start at Long Beach State, and then going to the World Series my freshman year, that was that I don't even have words to describe it. That's still the best time of my life. Sharing that time with my teammates and our coaches and the university and all the fans, it was incredible. Yeah, I'm super fortunate to be able to, we had a lot of good players. I was just some freshman that came in that was lucky enough to make the travel squad. So, but yeah, man, that was the best time of my life, and I'll cherish that forever.
Playing catcher throughout your baseball career, I mean, how has that helped you see the game differently? I played catcher growing up, and I think it helps me as a broadcaster just because you see the entire field. How has it helped you throughout your career and now into your coaching player development career?
Yeah, no, you're right. You hit the nail on the head with you're able to see you're able to see all 8 other players on the field along with the hitter, the base runners, whatever. So just having that vision in your peripherals, you just really gain a sense of, hey, where are guys supposed to be? How hard is this ball hit? Where do I redirect and cut for a double in the gap with a runner on first? It's just reps. And so being able to just, growing up playing catcher and just seeing the game, I think it's just pitch by pitch. No pitch is the same. No, the outcomes are the same. A lot of the outcomes are the same, but it gives you a different lens to look at the game, because you're kind of the field manager. You're the catcher. You're the manager. The coaches, eyes pretty much. So that's really helped me try and help these guys here to just be able to be aware of, hey, this guy's here, that he needs to be there. He's a step too far going out. There's a lot of little things, but it's definitely a leg up with how you're able to see the game.
Yeah, I mean, most important position on the diamond, in my opinion. If you ask me about it,
Yeah,
maybe
sure.
take pitcher out of it. I think after that it's
That's
catcher
right.
for sure.
That's right. I agree.
All right, we're gonna go with a rapid fire round to wrap up here. Mix it up a little bit with these questions. Toughest pitcher you ever faced?
I would say probably one of our guys, like going back to Weston. Like we faced him a lot in the fall. He's got that splitter. He's got that bowling ball sinker. So he's up there. Tommy Henry with us. A lot of our guys, I would say.
Okay. All right. How about the best pitcher you ever caught?
Tommy Henry, Michigan. So he's a left-handed pitcher with the Diamondbacks now. He can dot up. He's got nasty stuff. So being able to catch him was really tough, but it really, really fun at the same time.
All right. All right. How about this one? Best sports video game ever made. And you can throw me out a specific year of the game too.
Oh shoot. I always think back to those like NFL street games back when I don't even know, when I was 10 or something, where you could just lay guys out, or basketball. I think they have different. So let's go NFL street.
Okay, I like it. All right. You get to build an ice cream sundae with 2 ice cream flavors and 2 toppings. What are you going with?
Oreo cookie dough, and then I'll go 2 toppings. I'll throw some more Oreos on and some Reese's cups.
That sounds pretty good. I like that. Oreos, you can't go
Heart
wrong.
attack, but yeah, that's right.
All right. I know you're a Patriots fan when it comes to the NFL. What year will the Patriots win their next playoff game?
So what is it, 2024 right now?
Yeah.
The next year will be, let's go next year. I think Drake May's he's gonna take us to the maybe not the promised land, but hey, if we can get a first round win, I think that's a great rookie season for the young guy.
I mean, if he's the real deal, it could be soon.
That's right. That's right.
Last one for you. What international city or country is #1 on your bucket list right now?
I've always wanted to go to Italy. I don't know what part, but somewhere in Italy. I had Italian food last night here in New York, so getting some authentic Italian in Italy that's probably #1 right now.
Yeah, good stuff. Good stuff. Shout out to my Italian roots. I'm loving that answer. So
that's right.
that's awesome. Well, he's IronBirds staff assistant Casey Buckley. I'm Michael Marcantonini. Casey, thanks for doing this. Thanks for being on All Mic'd Up. I appreciate it, man.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me, Mike.
We'll be right back after this. Welcome back to All Mic'd Up IronBirds fans. Michael Marcantonini back here with IronBirds and Orioles technology coordinator Jack Harmon. Really excited to talk to Jack in this segment of the show. Jack, thanks so much for taking the time. You're all mic'd up. You ready for this?
Yes, sir. Awesome. Thanks for having me, Mike. Looking forward to it.
Absolutely. So I want you to tell the people out there what you do in your role as a technology coordinator with the IronBirds and in the Orioles organization, because it's such an interesting position that's so big in baseball nowadays.
My main responsibilities is all the technology and data needs for our affiliates specifically. I'll be in charge of whether that's setting up cameras for the games for us to look at after the games for our database or for players to watch after the games. Also setting up TrackMan in the bullpens, Edgertronic, basically every baseball technology you could think of that exists at our affiliate, I somewhat interact with. Also during the games at home games, every other few games, I'll be running Hawkeye, which gives us a bunch of tracking as well as biomechanics. Gives us a lot of data as compared to TrackMan. Hawkeye's been kind of that new wave the last few years. So that's kind of briefly what I do. And then everything else in between, whether that's helping out coaches feed the machine, whether that's helping throw with guys or throwing batting practice, that's kind of my role, which I really enjoy being able to dive into separate categories.
In terms of what you do throughout the day and the order that you do it and how much time you spend on each, take me through an average home game day. Let's say night game, 7:05.
Yeah, so if it's a night game at 7:05, I'd like to get here around 12, around an hour before the clubhouse opens. Usually around 1:30, we'll have bullpens. So during bullpens, I'll be sitting there helping out our pitching coach set up the TrackMan along with the Hydrotronic and just assisting in anything that he needs. Then generally after bullpens, we'll have some downtime, whether that's going to help out Shag with BP or whether that's sitting in the cages with the guys and just trying to pick Zach, our hitting coach's brain, or just hanging out with the guys and learning what they're going through day to day or what their thoughts are. That's something I really like is you're really busy, but also there's times for you to go and interact with the guys or do some of the stuff that maybe you're not supposed to do every single day, meaning that my main responsibility is bullpens, but if I have an extra time from 2 to 4 to go help out with infielders or watch that, I'm going to go and do that. So then about like an hour or two before the game time, I'll set up my cameras. I'll set up 7 around our stadium for the players to watch back after the games. Also the coaching staff to watch from the previous day. Then also at home, I'll be running Hawkeye every other home game. So if I'm on Hawkeye, I'll set that up probably an hour, hour and a half before, then start my cameras, then go back to running Hawkeye during the games. But if I'm not doing Hawkeye, I'll be in the dugout shooting Edgertronic during the games, which has been awesome experience seeing how these guys think through their ABs and just getting closer to the guys from being in the dugout.
Well, there's so much that goes into it. And I know it's your first year in the Orioles organization, but it's not your first year and your first go around working in baseball. I know you had an awesome experience at Driveline up in the Pacific Northwest this past year before you were hired by the Orioles. Tell me about that experience.
Yeah, Driveline was a really good experience. Before that was, so started off with Prep Baseball Report. It's kind of local Midwest showcase service. So started with that in Chicago and then also worked for them remotely my senior year at Ole Miss. Once that ended was with USA Baseball in the Appy League and then quickly moved over to Seattle from West Virginia. So it's kind of a lot of moving in a short time frame, but really enjoyed it. And yeah, like you said, Driveline was awesome for my experience, just being able to see the player development lens of I was in an operations role, so I got to interact with a lot of the pitching guys, a lot of the customer service guys, then a lot of the hitting guys as well. So I kind of got to see it all, which was, I think was really big for my career. And I think just it was super cool itself. The facility was really eye-opening with their mocap lab and just their weight room and all the athletes that you get to see go in there, I think was a great experience for me. And super thankful for it, but ultimately while I was at Driveline, just really missed the competitive aspect of being at the field, trying to help guys win. So was really thankful to end up with those, but I'll always be thankful for my time at Driveline and just think the biggest thing for me was kind of being in that role to be able to interact with all the different departments and also being sometimes at the front desk, talking to some of the big league guys, learning about what they're going through, what they're trying to change in the off season was really cool for me.
Is there a conversation with one of the big league guys in your time at Driveline that really stands out or one that you think about often in your first year with the O's?
Yeah, I would say it was pretty cool. My first week, Mookie Betts was there. It was cool to meet him, but also Travis Pisano was there almost every day when he had an off day. He's probably going to get drafted 1-1 this year out of Oregon State. And just being able to watch him every single day was kind of eye-opening. He's very, very solid, but also a really good guy. And just, I would say the biggest thing with Pisano was his work ethic to see how committed he is to every rep, whether it's using a short bat with one hand or if he's facing high velo and spin on the machine. Every rep looks the same, how locked in he is. And I ultimately think he's going to make it a long way, partly just because of how dialed he is on his work ethic and attitude. So say those were two really cool guys. Got to meet Dylan Tate when I was out there, which was nice. Orioles guy. Ryan Long was another Orioles guy that I got to meet out there. Keone Kella got pretty close with. He was former major league pitcher trying to make a comeback now. So those are some of the guys I got to interact with and got close with out there.
It's incredible, all those great baseball minds and the great baseball talents in one spot trying to get better. I know
Definitely.
you didn't play college baseball, you're not playing pro baseball, but you're working in professional baseball and you're building a career off of the playing field. So what advice would you give to people out there who want to work in pro ball but didn't play college or pro ball at some point?
Yeah, I would definitely say while I feel like a lot of the industry in the past was a lot of guys coming from pro ball, there is a way to get into pro ball or working in baseball if you didn't necessarily play at the college or pro level. Say the biggest thing is just while you're in college trying to get a start. So I didn't ultimately work for Ole Miss, but I worked for Prep Baseball Report while I was at Ole Miss. And that's a service where I was practicing my scouting skills and learn some of the technology. And I'd say the biggest thing is to just go out of your way to make connections and try to interact with people. So something I did is when I was at Ole Miss, I'd go to the games and I'd write scouting reports and talk to the scouts and try to get feedback on it. And throughout my time working in different roles before up to the Orioles, I would just try to reach out to people and get feedback on, hey, what do you think of this report? What do you think of this guy? Hey, I'd love to learn about your player development system. What can you tell me about it? Or, hey, am I thinking the right things on this? I'd say the biggest thing is trying to get yourself out there, which is maybe scary at first when you haven't done it much. But the more people you try to show that, hey, I'm just passionate about this, trying to learn and get in the industry, a lot of people are very helpful. So had a lot of very helpful people that I'm really thankful for that kind of guided that path for me. It gave me a lot of advice on my reports. So I'd say that would be the biggest thing when someone asks me, hey, I want to work in baseball, or how could I get in baseball without playing it necessarily at the highest level?
That's a great answer right there. I love it. So I know you did play baseball though throughout your life. How far did you take your playing career?
Yeah, so played all the way through high school. Could have played kind of at a lower level at college, around a D3 junior college level. Was pretty undersized and a little weak. If would have seen my metrics on bat speed and everything, wouldn't have been too great. So that's ultimately what kind of pushed me out of the game and wanting to get out of my comfort zone and go to a bigger school. Being from Chicago, going to Ole Miss was kind of a big jump that I was really thankful for. So ultimately kind of wanted to work in sports and go to that bigger school, have that experience rather than going to a smaller school and play. But there are definitely the days I wish I was like, oh, what would have happened if I would have gone to that school and played? But ultimately it all worked out and happy where I'm at right now.
Yeah, I hear that, man. I mean, I love broadcasting. It's a true passion of mine, but if I could still be out on that field playing, I mean, I think that's everybody's number one. So to go off of that, how do you see the game differently now than before you started working in baseball?
Yeah, definitely. I would say my senior year of high school is just when TrackMan and numbers were kind of starting to really come around more back in 2019, 2018 area. So back in the day, no one really knew about vertical approach angle or was looking at hop on a fastball. They were just saying, hey, his fastball plays up, it carries a lot. And now it's pretty much a necessity to know. Everyone is looking at, hey, what's this guy's induced vertical break? Or what's this guy's VAA play like? Or is he an east-west guy? Rather than people just using the eyes, which I still really appreciate traditional scouting and using the eye. Now, if there's data to back it up. So I'd say just the biggest thing now is people using data to make decisions, also back up the eye test decisions. So that's what I think the biggest thing is, just the use of technology, because now too, you have all the public bat speed data. Like 4 or 5 years ago, there was no bat speed out, and now you could see in the major leagues who's leading the leagues in bat speed.
You've done a little bit of throwing BP and hitting some fungos, and I know you and Casey have been working on that this season.
Yeah.
So how's the progress with that going?
Yeah, it's been solid. So I have some experience with fungos, with being at Driveline, coaching with also coached at Driveline, their youth program teams. So did a lot of defense stuff with them, hit a lot of fungos, but also too, when I was back home for a month or two for the Orioles in the off seasons, I'll teach lessons at a facility back home where I do a lot of infield stuff. So I was pretty comfortable with fungos, but batting practice has been my first time really throwing to guys. So it's been so much better from day one. Still getting used to it a little bit, still working on it, but yeah, I've been really trying to practice my darts. That's a drill we like to do where we're close by on a knee throwing overhand. Then also, like you said, me and Casey every few days will go out there and throw breaking balls to each other, pitches, and step in the box just to work on our mixed batting practice as well. So definitely a long ways to go still, but I really like the progress so far from just April.
That's so cool. That's such an underrated part of the job there, especially
Yeah.
with how often you guys are getting in the pregame reps and how well the Orioles organization does it. Who are your favorite players growing up in baseball or even athletes in other sports?
Growing up, Javi Baez in his prime was pretty fun to watch around that 2016, 2015 to 2018 era. Really did like Troy Tulowitzki growing up too, like Dustin Pedroia a lot. And then I would also say I liked Harper a lot when I was younger too, when he was just coming up as a prospect, when he was doing the clown meme and all that stuff. I was like a 9-year-old kid. So seeing that was kind of funny as a little kid, and just to see his success still in the league is really impressive. So I'd say those were somewhat of my guys growing up, Dustin Pedroia especially, just because he's an undersized middle infielder at the time, and he was one of the best undersized middle infielders to ever do it.
Yeah, an absolute grinder, just a straight
Yeah.
scrapper on the diamond. You have to love that. All right, Jack, we're going to wrap up this interview with a quick random question round. What is your favorite baseball statistic out there?
It's kind of a boring answer, but I'd go OPS. But if we're looking at stuff more, I'd go in zone contact rate. Really like bat to ball skills, really like guys that are putting the ball in play. So that's something I'll look at quite a bit. And right away is, hey, like this guy's struggling or if he's doing well. Like first, let's look at, is he chasing pitches? Is he hitting the ball that's in the zone? Is he swinging at those pitches and making contact with it? So I'd say OPS and in zone contact rate.
All right, what sporting event is #1 on your bucket list?
I think it would be cool to go to Game 7 World Series one day. I haven't been to the World Series at all in general. Went to the NLCS when the Cubs played in 2015, but didn't go to the playoffs that year when they won the World Series in 16. I think it'd be really cool to go to Game 7 one day. I would love for it to be the Orioles, but any Game 7 I think would be really cool.
I'm with you on a Game 7 of the World Series. All right,
Yeah.
next one. Rank these three from 3 to 1, with 1 being the best. Waffles, pancakes, and French toast.
Okay, I'm gonna go pancakes 1, waffles 2, 3 French toast. Big pancakes and waffles guy. Not as big on French toast, but French toast is always good as well.
Okay, that's fair. I think French toast is like the one where it's either fantastic or just not good at all. There's
Yeah,
no
it's
middle.
always hit or miss. It's always super good or kind of just mediocre.
Yeah. All right, next one. What is the longest car or bus ride that you've ever been on or driven yourself?
Probably going from Mississippi to Fort Lauderdale. That was about an 18-hour ride. Did that my junior and senior year. So that was pretty far for spring break. It was a cool area to go out there. Got to see the World Baseball Classic my senior year, but because it was playing in Miami, but that was an 18-hour ride. That was pretty long. But yeah, that's been the furthest so far. Hopefully won't have to have too many over 18 that are driving, but yeah, not too bad. Not the most fun, but also not the worst in the world either.
Worth it to see some WBC games. That's awesome. Last one for you. What TV show or movie would you most like to be in if it was recreated?
I'd either go Moneyball or Sopranos, just because those are probably my two favorite shows. Sopranos probably my favorite show, and then Moneyball is my favorite movie. So I don't know which one I'd rather be in, but one of those two I'd be more than happy to be in. I think those are both two really good shows and films.
Yeah, that's awesome. How can you not be romantic about baseball? That's awesome
exactly.
stuff. All right, well, I've got IronBirds and Orioles technology coordinator Jack Harmon joining me on All Mic'd Up. Jack, thanks so much for doing this. Awesome interview, man.
This was awesome. Thank you so much for having me.
Thanks for watching All Mic'd Up. To watch past and future episodes and for more broadcast highlights, subscribe on YouTube and follow @Mic'dUpSports on X, Instagram, and TikTok.